and everybody else, so it is not an easy program laying out a World Cup circuit or World Cup tour. So this is our chasing group behind Julian Absalon, being led now by Manuel Fumik, and Fumi having a good ride here today. Right behind him is Nino Schurter, the World Cup Series leader and former world champion from 2009, world champion in under 23 junior and elite, back now with our leader. That gives you an idea of how far ahead he is. But the last time we saw it as a 20-second gap on Julian Absalon. I'm just trying to look at my clock and see if I can pick up another split and see if Absalon has made up any time on the run up to Rory Gill. Well, if anything, Kulhavi has pulled out a few seconds. So it's probably 3 or 4 seconds on Julian Absalon now that he's pulled out since they crossed the start-finish line. Good crowd on hand here in Dalby Forest, North Yorkshire, about an hour and a half from Leeds Airport in the centre of the country. Manuel Fumik going down now, Nino Schurter right behind him. All of these riders, of course, taking the A-line into Rory Gill. Manuel Fumik looking a lot more confident and quicker than Jaroslav Kulhavi. Barry Stander sitting in behind, splitting the Cannondale riders. You've got Fontana next, and then Souza, then Hamida. And then it looks like Licha, Gouja, maybe Todd Wells in there now. And Moritz Milat's in there as well. And they're absolutely flat out down through this gully. It really is a narrow gully with a rocky surface, lots of tree roots and other things on the side of the track. It's very difficult to pass. So they just get into a train and get to the end of that, and then they climb up towards Medusa, which is normally the next place we pick them up. And here's a slow-mo of Kulhavi coming down through the end of Medusa. As I mentioned before, the specs on his bike, he's running the Fast Track 2.0 on the front and Renegade 1.95 tyres on the rear. It's a 9.4 kilo bike. It's the heaviest bike of the 4 Specialized riders. Just looking at Christoph Sauer's stats, he's running a 2.9er as well. It's actually the first time that Christoph Sauer has run a 2.9er since the year 2000 in a World Cup event. He ran it in Lausanne. Sorry, a hardtail, sorry. The first time he's ridden a hardtail is since Lausanne World Cup 2000. So it's been 11 years since he's been on a hardtail, always running full suspension bikes, and he feels that this course is definitely a hardtail course. It's one of the highest speed courses that we have on the circuit, and last year it was a 22 km/h average, the fastest by a long way when you consider Champery is about 16 km/h average. And we're looking at a winning time of 1:40 or so. If it's under 1:40, it means it'll be the fastest race on record for the last 2 years. Well, he's looking very calm and in control, is Jaroslav Kulhavi. There's 8 switchbacks in Medusa, bringing you down to this point here over the roots and into the technical zone. And we look up the hill and we can see another rider on course, and that will be Julian Absalon. So he really isn't that far. If he can look down the track and see where Kulhavi is, that will give him a great idea of what he needs to do in order to bridge the gap. Kulhavi, of course, will be getting a lot of information about Julian Absalon's position on course, and will be reacting accordingly. And Absalon, it has to be said, is probably pretty tired of getting silver medals over the last year. So he'll be wanting to try and pick up his first win in some time. In fact, I think his last win was in Offenburg last year, 2010, so it's almost a year since he's had a World Cup win. Riders really attacking the bottom section here, flying through the roots and attacking onto the bottom here. Hamida going through, there's Licha. That's Goujan, another Swiss. And it looks like Todd Wells going through in the Specialized red, white and blue, wearing the colours of the national champion. Moritz Milat's going through there in the German strip as national champion. So the sun out, the wind's died down a little bit, but not much. And talking to some of the women after the race, they did say that the wind was a big factor for them along the top of this section, just after the climb here as they head back towards the Worry Gill section of the course. They were very much impacted by the wind across the field that's at the top of the section, top of the course, and of course during the open field area of the start finish heading towards Tech Zone 1. 28, a good ride there by Fabian Giga. He's moving now up into the top 20. He'll be trying to pass Sven Nice. And for those of you who want to follow some of the riders towards the back, don't forget we have live timing, and you can follow that on uci.ch. Adam Craig a little bit further back than he would like to be, in 93rd position. And Bart Janutz, the cross-country cyclocross rider, has moved up to 88th place. I'm just trying to see where Brian Lopes has ended up. Well, already seeing two DNFs, big name DNFs. Ralph Naff and Matthias Flukiger are out. So those two riders are out of the race, and I'm just looking now for Brian Lopes, who's sitting in 119th place at 6 minutes 50. So after 2 laps of racing, he's, or 1.5 laps of racing, he's, sorry, 2 laps of racing, he's only 6 minutes or so off the lead. That's not too bad for Brian Lopes. But back at the head of the field, there we see Stefan Tempier going through into the tech zone. This is Stefan Tempier, it's a Bianchi colour rider. No, it's the second of the Bianchi riders. So back now with our leader. This is Jaroslav Kulhavy coming back towards the Worry Gill. And again we see what he almost put a foot down there, but he's getting up over the rock section. It's getting harder and harder, I would think, each lap. But he does that very well. He's got a lot of momentum. He's a big lad. And there it is, the lead moto telling people that there are 4 laps remaining. Well, actually we're coming around now to complete lap number 3, so we'll be at half race distance when he crosses the line. Well, he's looking very strong, isn't he? But there's Absalon now coming into view just behind. So Absalon has got this critical moment where he can see the leader, and it's not going to be 20 seconds, I don't think, at this point. It looks like he's probably brought this gap down a little bit. Julian Absalon, such a master of race tactics. Well, he'll be very comfortable with that. He'll know that Kulhavy's well and truly within grasp now. And probably the wise thing for these two would be to work together, because it is, as I say, quite windy and difficult conditions out there. And perhaps Kulhavy doesn't really want to work with him. We'll wait and see. Kulhavy over the bridge. See if we can get a gap there. Okay, the time is up on the clock, and we'll try and pick up next time we see them through a section where we can watch them together, and we'll get a time split for you. But it's not long before they come around and finish this lap, and we'll know exactly where they are. And this is our chasing group with Manuel Fumic again on the front, Nino Schurter second, Marco Fontana third in that group, and then it looks like the distinctive style of Barry Standard, then Christoph Sauser, then Tempier falling back a bit towards Licher. Thomas Licher sitting in there. Now this should be plate number 23, which is Moritz Smilatz, and there's Todd Wells, plate number 10, the yellow plate. And 14 now coming through. No, well, that's Martin Goujon coming through now. And just behind him probably Maxime Marot. No, it's Rudy van Hoots in the Dutch colours. The Dutch national colours are red, white and blue, not orange as many people would think. So the chase group got a lot of work to do, with 3 and a bit laps remaining. So here comes the chase group. The chase group coming into view now. This is our lead rider. Sorry, not our lead rider. Lead rider of the group being led now by Nino Schurter, who's passed Manuel Fumik. And just before I was off air, but discussing about Yaroslav Kolhavi and Julian Absalon out front in these conditions. It can be quite tricky. We saw that Ring Chen Wan had a difficult time in the women's race. She pretty much hit the brick wall, and as we spoke to her team afterwards, it was literally, she physically blew up on the last lap after doing so much work for the first 4 laps. So we'll see if these guys can maintain this pace out front in these windy conditions. There he goes, Julian Absalon, now 19 seconds down, so the gap pretty much staying the same. It was 20 at the end of the last lap, and now it's 19, so really quite negligible, the difference there between the end of the last lap and the end of this lap. Now with 3 laps to go, Yaroslav Kolhavi coming into the technical zone, not taking a bottle. Looking comfortable, I must say, and he'll be very aware that Julian Absalon is not far behind. Did he have a quick glance over? No, he didn't. And Julian Absalon has not entered the feed zone arena yet, so there is a bit of a gap there. Julian Absalon taking something on board. So here comes our chase group. We have about 9 riders here. Is being now led by Barry Stander and Christoph Sauser. Are they trying to control the pace for Yaroslav Kolhavi? And there we got Manuel Fumik, Nino Schurter, there we got Fontana, Tempier, Litcher, Moritz Milets, and now Todd Wells has joined the back of this group. So we have literally 9 riders in that group going through, fighting for 3rd place. So next up we've got our, looks like 13th, 14th and 15th coming through. That's Maxime Marot, Carlos Coloma coming through as well in 15th. And here's this big train of 9 riders coming through the feed zone. They've got to be sure to be clear that they've got 2 feeders probably in there. Otherwise it's really difficult for example, Cannondale. They've got 3 riders in that group. And they're heading out now for the beginning of lap number 4. And just being joined in the studio by World Downhill Champion Tracy Mosley, who's been out there early today battling it with the other girls in the cross country. It must have been quite an experience out there on the first couple of laps.
Yeah, definitely. It was a pretty big challenge to set myself, and the first couple of laps I was hurting pretty bad, and the speed was crazy off the start, straight into some single track that was really hard to pass people. So a couple of little crashes and tumbles trying to get past people, and then kind of settled into a rhythm. But yeah, it's a tough old sport when you put together flat out laps back to back, but amazing experience. Crowd was awesome, really good British crowd once again, just like Fort William, getting behind the English riders. So it was a real privilege to be able to ride in front of a home crowd.
The technical sections of the track we saw just coming up near Warrie Gill as they're coming back. There's the 2 lines there, the A line and the B line. Most of them